So, as you can see, Cat's still here. Okay, so let's get into another classic last night between the Vancouver Canucks and the Edmonton Oilers. This has been such an unbelievable series. And what's been interesting is it kind of feels like both teams are just exchanging good games, and then the other one is holding on for dear life. Like the good game that you get still only gets you like a 1-goal advantage, because either you're not putting it away or the other team is just kind of holding on and doing what they can. But this has been such an amazing series. And last night it was the Canucks' turn. And last night it was certainly more what you would expect from the Vancouver Canucks. They were the better team throughout. And obviously, there was a lot of talk in the 48 hours leading up to that game about, 24 hours leading up to that game about Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson. And I would say both got the message. Neither were as dominant as we've seen in the regular season, but in the playoffs, it is kind of difficult to just dominate the way you did when you're playing Columbus on a Wednesday in January. But they showed up in a big-time way, and there was that shift with a couple minutes to go in the second period that I thought really set the tone for them, where they just spent the whole possession, the whole shift in the offensive zone, and that really kind of sent that message like, hey, we know we are two of the best players in this game, and we are going to prove it. And so I do really think that when you look at this from a Vancouver standpoint, that is a huge positive that you have got those guys to start to click a little bit. And now with Besser and Miller still playing really well, and we'll get to that in a little bit, that this makes Vancouver feel like a dangerous team, that the whole team was really going yesterday, and offensively they had complete control of this hockey game, full shifts in the offensive zone, and really, when you're looking at this series, this is what this Vancouver team is actually capable of. This Vancouver side is a team that can roll 4 lines, they can control offensively. You want to style with them? Elias Pettersson can style. Quinn Hughes can style. You want to play a bit more of a grinded out game? JT Miller will happily do that, and Brock Besser will finish. This is a team that when they are rolling, they are so difficult to defend, and you saw that last night. And I have said, when both teams are at their best, I think Vancouver's better, and I do believe we saw that last night. Now, you could certainly make the case that Edmonton wasn't at their best, but you saw the best from Vancouver in that game, and I think clearly the changes worked. Pettersson got going with Lindholm, a phenomenal redirect to, I don't think he planned to hit it off the post, but he put it on goal, and that leads to the JT Miller overtime winner with 32 seconds to go in this game, and so they got rolling a little bit. The other lines stayed what they were, and you once again saw a Vancouver team that felt very comfortable rolling with 3 to 4 lines here, and that was something that we just haven't seen from them in a really long time. And I think the real catalyst of this is JT Miller. And I'm not going to say I owe JT Miller an apology. I don't think he's been staying up at night. But I was wrong about the JT Miller thing. I thought it was a waste of a trade for a first-round pick. I thought it was a waste of a contract extension. But these are the moments why you bring him in. Now, you can very easily critique the decision-making that got them to the point initially of bringing JT Miller in on a team that was still probably in a spot where they should have been rebuilding a little bit, and the contract extension after he kind of hadn't earned it, but it's paying off now. And so sometimes 2 wrongs do make a right. And it has led to JT Miller being the leader on this team and the catalyst for so much. The battles with Connor McDavid down low. They had that shift, I think it was in the third period even, where Miller is just in an all-out battle with McDavid in the defensive zone for 30-40 seconds, comes back up ice and gets a scoring opportunity before he ducks away. He has set the tone for this Vancouver team all series long, and he has been the one who has been at the center of so many things, and so it was fitting that last night he is the one that gets that goal. But you look at a lot of Besser goals, and this isn't to take away from Besser at all, but a lot of it starts with something JT Miller did. And again, I don't know if I'd want to host a podcast with the Cat, but I do think that this is a guy who, now that the Canucks are playing in truly meaningful hockey games, he has been their best player in most of them. And that is why they brought him in. Again, you can critique the decision making all you want, but now that they are in a spot where playing winning hockey matters, this guy is stepping up and playing some of the best hockey he has played in a Vancouver Canucks jersey. He's been over a point per game the last 3 seasons, and he has been on fire for this group. And again, I have been very critical of the decisions to bring him in and critical of the player at several times, but now when they have needed him the most, he has so clearly been their best player that it has really been a big boost. And now, if Pettersson is still going, if that Lindholm pairing works, and if that third line can continue to be a real thorn for Edmonton, this feels like a very complete Vancouver Canucks team one more time, and that is a big problem for the Edmonton Oilers. But of course, it's Vancouver, so there can't not be controversy. It sounds like Thatcher Demko is making some progress to returning, and that has led to discussions of, goaltending controversy? Which is insane to me. There is no controversy. Thatcher Demko gets the net when he's back. Now, you have to make sure he is back. That this can't be, I'm about 75%, I think I can go. Nope, then you're waiting. You have to be 100%, because the guy right now is playing really well. Shelovs is still playing out of his mind type of a hockey, and was also a part of Vancouver coming away with a victory in that game. But when Thatcher Demko is ready to come back, this is his goal. Shelovs is a great story. Demko is one of the great goalies in the world right now. And you have to roll out there with that guy. And that there is no question about it. Shelovs has been an amazing story. He has been someone who has really battled his way into this spot. He is still your third string goalie. And if I'm going down, I'm going down with one of the best goalies in the world. So Shelovs has made it so you don't have to rush Demko back at 65, 75, even 85%. But if Demko is 100%, it's his net. That end of discussion. It is not, in my opinion, as easy of a discussion in Edmonton, because Stuart Skinner kind of sucked for a little bit there. And now Edmonton's season is on the line Saturday night, back at home. Calvin Pickard was as excellent can be when you only need to make 19 saves to pick up a win in game 4. Game 5, he was tested much more substantially, and I thought held his own. He's certainly not the reason they lost, but they did lose. And so now your season's on the line. The Pickard thing is great when it's 2-1 and it's 2-2, but now you have one game for your season. Where are you going? And like, if you're looking at how they've played, it's so simple. It's Calvin Pickard. Stuart Skinner was a liability for this team for great stretches of this series, and I would go so far as to say actively cost them games in this series, and things would probably be flipped, if not over, by now if Stuart Skinner played the way that Edmonton brass thinks he can play. But it gets a little messy when you start to consider the future. On the one hand, if you put Calvin Pickard in for Game 6 against Vancouver and you lose, you are now going into an offseason where Stuart Skinner is kind of supposed to be your goalie of the future, but you very clearly don't trust him with your season on the line, and you can't exactly wait to develop a goalie when Draisaitl's contract is up in a year and McDavid's contract is up in 2 years. So you kind of need a dude who can win now. And I think Edmonton would suggest, unless Skinner comes in and posts like a 103 goals against average and a 960 save percentage the rest of the way, I would say Edmonton fans are probably looking for a replacement in net anyway. But I do think that there is something there for Stuart Skinner. Like, there were stretches where you thought, okay, they have the goalie of the future figured out. I don't know if they do, but if you go with Pickard and you lose, you really don't, right? Like, because now you have to come back to me like, hey, we were just kidding. Like, I know that guy who's played on like 19 different teams started ahead of you in the most important time of the year, but no, you're our guy. You're our guy. Just trust me. That's a bit of an awkward conversation to have. On the other hand, say you start Stuart Skinner in Game 6, and he gives up a goal in the first 3 minutes and 2 in the first 8. That is probably not going to be the most receptive arena to the struggles of Stuart Skinner, and then you have a chance of losing him forever. Like that could be something that just breaks the kid. And so it is such an interesting dynamic for Edmonton. And now the logical option, because of what I just laid out, you have Draisaitl, you have McDavid, you just have to win. Worry about next year when next year comes. You just have to win. So I do think that you probably should go Calvin Pickard. He has played better than Stuart Skinner has at any point in this series. He has been the better of your two goalies. And so I think you just have to roll with the hot hand, situation be damned. But it is kind of interesting to see how the dominoes could fall coming off of that.